brought up in Asia and knew firsthand how much the people needed medical help. But whatever her background, every nurse on board was determined Project Hope would be a success. As for the doctors, well, a lot of us saw duty in World War II. More than half of us in the Pacific. We saw a lot and learned a lot in those years. And we discovered there was a whole field of medicine that American doctors knew little about.
As we have said, malaria is the most important disease of the tropical variety, both from a standpoint of morbidity and mortality. To come now to details, we have upon the screen here a slide of human blood showing the malarial organisms within them. May I have the next slide, please?
With the great increase in travel to all parts of the world, it's important that we in America are prepared to cope with any threat to our public health. Thanks to Hope, we'd have a chance to further our knowledge. Before we took off, Project Hope's architects tried to make the ship self-sufficient in every way. The system for making milk and drinking water is one of the most amazing processes I've ever seen. Imagine making milk from seawater. Every day, thousands of gallons of salt water from the Pacific Ocean are pumped into the ship. Then the big tanks boil the water and the salt is taken out. After filtering the water over and over, pure milk solids are added. Then butterfat is blended. The result, milk that tastes just like something straight from a dairy at home. The Iron Cow, and that's what we all call this operation, can produce thousands of gallons of milk a day. Where we're going, milk is scarce. We'll be needing a ready source to help build up the strength of our patients, although most of it will be distributed to people in the villages on shore. In this case, the containers were labeled in both Indonesian and English, so everyone will know what he's drinking and that it comes from the SS Hope. We also have the problem of how to get along in a country where only a few people understand English. Every day on the way over, we had language classes, taught by two Indonesian girls on their way home from school in the States.
Silahkan, please. Silahkan, please. Silahkan, please.
Hello, goodbye, and thank you. It's a 4-week cram course designed to help us do our jobs better. On a rainy morning in October, we arrived at our first port of call, Jakarta, Indonesia's capital. Now, all of us on board would have a chance to test our skills and dreams against the realities of a foreign land and people. Our first visitors were ambassadors from the many different countries represented in Indonesia. Even the ambassador from the Soviet Union toured the ship. Indonesian political leaders, doctors, and their wives came aboard to inspect us too. They could see that the SS Hope was a floating medical center, ready for business, and not a hollow propaganda boast. The very day the ship docked, our first group of rotating medical specialists arrived in Jakarta by air. They left family and income to share their skills and knowledge with the people of these newly developing countries, teaching while healing. For me, and for every doctor and nurse on board, there'll be an Indonesian counterpart who's been trained in the same branch of medicine. Indonesians who will leave their homes and their jobs to work side by side with Americans. I was assigned to work with Dr. Noor, a young internist who led his class at the Central Indonesian Medical University.
I was honored to be among those selected by the Indonesian Project Hope Committee to serve on the ship. English is the official second language of Indonesia. I know English, but many of my countrymen do not. The signs throughout the ship in English and Indonesian will be most helpful, especially to the many patients who will come here. Our nurses, as well as our doctors, come to the Hope Ship for study and training. The day after I arrived, ambulances brought the first of dozens of patients who would be treated aboard the SS Hope. Some of them are young and helpless. Some are frightened and must be persuaded to come aboard. Others are old, and for them, death seemed near. Working side by side with the Americans, we Indonesians admit the patients. In the beginning, we do not know this child's name, nor his village, nor his family. He is only a number on our records. For many of our patients, the ship seems a gift from God. Some come from the crowded cities, some from distant jungle villages. All are gravely ill, afraid they will never see their homes or families again. The ship and the Americans seem very strange at first. Pain and fear are companions for all the sick people we take on board. Soon after the first patients are admitted, we have a most distinguished visitor, the leader of our country, President Sukarno. He is especially interested in the main lecture room where through closed-circuit television, doctors and students learn how various operations are performed. The little sick children in the pediatric ward get most of his attention, however. Before the Hope Ship came, our doctors believed that all of them would soon die. Now perhaps there is some chance for them. Our doctors and nurses work with the Americans, diagnosing, prescribing, and treating. The lectures held every day concern the whole world of medicine. We Indonesians know we have much to learn from the Americans. We know also there is much we can teach them too. It is our task to inform the American doctors on tropical diseases, the work of our ducons and midwives, our polyclinics, and our public health programs. The American doctors lectures on pediatric and infant diet, surgery and anesthetics, radiology and bacteriology, and many more subjects.
As time goes on, other specialists will join the ship to help Project Hope bring the latest medical information and techniques to other countries. The operating rooms are in constant use, morning to night. On a typical day, we have a cystolithiasis in operating room 1 at 8:30 and a Swanson operation in room 2 at the same time. At 10 o'clock, there's a splenectomy in room 1 and the excision of a renal cyst in room 2. Operation follows operation. But they represent far more than just the treatment of the sick. Every doctor knows that when a surgeon has seen a special operation done once or twice, he learns how to do it himself, and that's what counts. These Indonesian surgeons will be able to go on from here now, do the operations themselves, and most important, be able to teach others too. Eventually, we found out that our little orphan's name was Sana. The surgery on his tumor lasted more than 6.5 hours. Our television cameras piped the delicate operation into the lecture room on closed-circuit TV for the students and observers, teaching so that the knowledge of one man, one doctor, one surgeon, one nurse can become the knowledge of thousands. This is the basic purpose of Project Hope. After the operation, little Sana was puzzled about the missing growth on his neck. But he managed to eat well. And there were always playmates wanting to visit him. The surgeon and intensive care nurse watched over him closely. The result? Well, for the first time in his young life, little Sana, unknown, unwanted when he came aboard, can hold his head erect. Whenever the schedule fits, monsoon rain or not, the Indonesians put together a show we'd never have